It's time for this week's Here's How. And this week, here's how to convince your uncle that he's an MOT technician. Whenever he talks about his place of work, point at him and question in a positive way and say, "The centre." Play that game where you write jobs on Rizzlers and stick it to your head, but you've written DJ and MOT technician on all of them, so everyone keeps saying the same things to each other. You make a lot of noise. You don't help anyone. Your job's done by a computer. Whenever you go to visit him, after a few minutes of talking, tell him that you'll pop back in about an hour. Tell him that Janice told you on the phone that he'll take a look at your windscreen motor too. She said it'll be fine and that she's set aside an extra half hour in your slot for it. At Christmas, buy him some blue overalls and tell him either in person or in a nice little handwritten note that these ones are somewhat oil resistant. They don't have to actually be able to absorb oil, but this isn't in a note, this is just a note for you. They'll make him believe that his life is a lie and he is in fact the trained MOT technician rather than the guy at the Birds of Prey sanctuary that gives the demonstrations. When he's smoking a cig, slap it out of his hands as he gets a couple fingers away from the filter and tell him that it's going to taste like shit because of the residual chemicals on his fingers. Pay various lookalikes to create video testimonials about his non-existent MOT business. David Bowie, KSI, Jackie Chan, all their cheapest lookalikes staring right down the centre of the camera saying how good Uncle James is at getting their car through the MOT. Maybe even a little appearance from an Angela Lansbury lookalike singing about how me MOT was fine. And at the bottom of the screen is his house address and personal mobile number, and just keep telling him how this Angela Lansbury's going to do numbers on the socials and how he's going to be up to his neck in jobs. Keep giving his number out to people who ask you about where they should get their MOT done this year, like when you're in the cafe and the old fella asks if you know of anyone who does a good MOT around here, or when you're walking around the park and that single mum of four with the massive swelled breasts that you see putting a kid into the swing most evenings asks you if you can help her get a car MOT'd. Even if your dad asks you, you can say that you can take his car to get an MOT, and you just say, yeah man, Uncle Khan can sort out that sort of thing for you, and then give him his social media details so that he can book him in. Keep applying for jobs in your uncle's name. Send letters, pop into the garage and use your uncle's name and leave his details after having a conversation with the staff. See if you can get him somewhat of a apprentice level gig, or maybe even get him in there for a full-time position. When he keeps getting these phone calls off potential employers, he's going to start believing that he does actually have the ability to be an MOT technician. Invite him out to the pub, but you've got to make sure it's karaoke night. Then get yourself on the machine and blast out a little bit of Celine Dion for him. There were times when the tyres were so bald, but our Uncle James was always there to replace my driver's side rear wheel. Other garages wrote me car off. Uncle James just winked and said, "Dear buddy, don't tell the DVLA I've signed this one through." Signed it through. I started driving, dashboard flashing as I left, and I went and brake checked my neighbour Greg, and the insurance paid me out about 7.5. And I split it with James, a 60-40 split. There is nobody else that I trust with my MOT, 'cause he'll tinker with cars, commit a bit of light fraud, and he's right over there, sat at table 23. Now, obviously, you're going to have to get him at the right table, and he might get a bit suspicious. Now, you are probably going to have to wait until everyone else loses interest, because the DJ might not like you making up your own words, but you could get him with a little bit of tune-ups, light engine work isn't something that he can do. Light bulbs, your seatbelt and horn are the things he will check for you. My Uncle James is a bad mechanic, but there's nowhere I'd rather get my MOT. You know, just with a little bit of Oasis or something. And that's the end of this week's Here's How.